Here are some practical tips that will help you buy a drawing tablet. In this video, I am only talking about pen tablets and pen displays. Those are the drawing tablets that require a connection to a computer. I'm not talking about standalone tablets like an iPad. That is a much more complicated topic. I may cover that in a separate video. A pen display has an embedded display screen, and a pen tablet does not. That's why pen tablets are often called screenless tablets, and pen displays are often called screen tablets or display tablets or drawing displays. Choosing between a pen tablet and a pen display is the first big choice that you need to make. The key thing I want you to remember is that pen displays are not inherently better than a pen tablet. The right choice for you will depend on what you need and how you work. I have compared pen tablets and pen displays across a number of dimensions, and maybe this will help you come to your own decision. Pen tablets are less expensive, more reliable, and more rugged than pen displays. Pen tablets are more portable because they're lighter, smaller, and they use very little power. Pen tablets have very simple cabling. It's just one USB cable to the computer, and some even work wirelessly. However, connecting a pen display gets complicated, and many people struggle to connect their pen display to their computer. Posture is a huge difference between the two. With the pen tablet, you sit with your back straight up and your eyes are looking forward to your monitor. But with a pen display, you'll generally be hunched over the pen display with your eyes looking down, and this will place strain on your lower back and your neck. And you may also find it stressful for your eyes to focus on something that's so close to you. So please take these ergonomic issues into account, because many people buy a pen display and within a few days realize that it's just too uncomfortable for them to use. Pen tablets have very little pointer lag, and what pointer lag they do have can't easily be seen. Pen displays tend to have more pointer lag, and also any pointer lag that they do have is very obvious, because you can see where the pen is and compare it to where the pointer is on the screen. So there are lots of advantages for pen tablets, but pen displays have some strong advantages also. These advantages come from the fact that with a pen display, your eyes are looking at the same place you're drawing, whereas with a pen tablet, you're drawing on the tablet but you're looking at a monitor. So pen displays integrate your hands and eyes together on the same surface. But with the pen tablet, there is a disconnection between your hands and eyes. This means that pen displays have a very natural drawing experience, and everyone has an intuitive sense of how to use a pen display. But the disconnection in a pen tablet can prove challenging. If I had to guess, I would say 90% of people can adjust to a pen tablet immediately. Another 5% would require a few days or maybe even a few weeks to adjust. And the remaining 5%, well, they just never adjust to a pen tablet, and they really need to use a pen display. The integration of hand and eyes on the same surface in a pen display gives one more advantage. Many people say that they get their strokes right the first time more often with a pen display than a pen tablet. So, for example, they have to press undo less when they're using a pen display. And that matches my own experience. What is right for you depends on a lot of factors. However, generally I say, if it's your first tablet, then you should really consider a pen tablet, because most people can work with them and they are less expensive. On the other hand, maybe you have already used a device like an iPad, so you already know the feeling of drawing on a screen, and in that case, a pen display is a perfectly fine choice. Choosing a tablet brand is the second most important decision that you need to make. There are lots of tablet brands, but I separate them into three buckets. The first bucket are the brands that I recommend. These are Wacom, Huion, XP Pen, and SenseLabs. I recommend these brands because I have a lot of experience with those tablets. I own 77 tablets from those brands. These brands either have a sizable online community or they have really good customer support. The second bucket, well, these brands use the same technology as the brands in the first bucket, but I don't tend to recommend them. There's nothing wrong with them, but I don't see that they have as large of a community online, and I do think that they may still struggle with customer support. And also, I just don't own any tablets from these brands, so my information here is quite limited. In the third bucket is every other brand, which I recommend that you avoid. These are usually low-cost brands. I see very few people using these brands, and I certainly don't have any experience with them. It is really important that you take the size of a brand's online community into account. For most tech products, if you have a question or a problem, more than half the time, you will get your answers and solutions not from customer support, but from other users in an online community. So in a lot of ways, the experience and satisfaction you have with a tablet is highly driven by the online community. Let's take a look at a few numbers from Reddit. This table shows you the subreddits for various tablet brands. It also shows you the number of members signed up for that subreddit and the unique visitors for the month of October 2024. Wacom, Huion, and XP Pen are brands that I recommend, and they have very large subreddits with lots of users. So if you have a question or a problem, someone there may likely be able to help you. Now, Sense Labs does not have a very large subreddit, but that's okay, because they compensate for that by having very strong customer support. And the other brands, they don't seem to have large online communities, and I don't really know that their customer support is that active. Of course, Reddit is not the only place that exists. So if you can find another online community for a brand that has thousands of users, then it strengthens the case for choosing that brand. Drawing tablet brands publish user manuals for their tablets, and before you buy a tablet, you really should read the user manual. If you can't find it on their website, just contact customer support and they'll point you in the right direction. Reading the user manual is so important because it will answer most of your questions and give you an idea of how to solve problems that you might encounter. One thing you have to understand before you buy a drawing tablet is how it will physically connect to your computer. The user manual will contain this information, usually in the form of pictures like this. This is a pen tablet, and it's easy to talk about how they connect to your computer. All pen tablets support a single USB cable for connecting to the computer, and some even support wireless connection. With pen displays, things get complicated. Some pen displays connect like this, with a 3-in-1 cable. That 3-in-1 cable requires 3 ports on your computer, 2 USB ports and 1 HDMI ports. And some pen displays connect like this, with a single USB-C cable. And this requires not just any USB-C port, but a USB-C port that meets certain requirements. And unfortunately, not all USB-C ports meet those requirements. Overall, you'd be surprised how many people buy a pen display, and only when they open the box they realize then that they don't have the ports they need. I have just scratched the surface of the complexity of connecting a pen display to a computer. Again, things get really complicated. I'm going to make a separate video to discuss those topics in detail. Related to connecting your tablet, I recommend that you test the ports on your computer before you buy the tablet. For pen tablets, it's pretty easy. If you have a USB port available, it will usually work. But just to be safe, test it with some other device like a mouse. For pen displays, again, there are lots of ways to connect them, but let's assume for this case, we want to connect with an HDMI cable. Obviously, you need an HDMI port on your computer. So your computer might have 2 HDMI ports, like the one I'm showing here, and one of them might already be used by your monitor. So you might be thinking you have an extra HDMI port and that will work. But let me assure you, just because your computer has an HDMI port does not mean it will work. Sometimes those ports are disabled. And sometimes you might have 2 ports, but your computer will only support using one at a time. And in some cases, you don't have an HDMI port, but you have a DisplayPort port, and there you have to get an adapter. So in this case, if you have 2 HDMI ports and one is already going to the monitor, you should take the other HDMI port and connect it to another monitor or TV. And this way you can ensure that both ports work and they both work simultaneously. Before you buy, understand what you're getting. Make sure you understand what is in the box. You can confirm this pretty easily. The information will be in the user manual, but I also suggest looking at the retail listing. For example, some pen displays can be connected with either a 3-in-1 cable or a USB-C cable. However, they often only include one of those cables. So it's good to know that before you spend your money. And if you're confused about it, just contact customer support and they will help you. When you are buying a drawing tablet, you should never purchase a tablet based on just the name alone. Always use the model number. Here's an example. This is the Tesla Cybertruck. Imagine if Tesla sold another vehicle called the Cybertruck by Tesla. That would be pretty confusing, right? Who would do such a thing? Well, Wacom would. They have 2 tablet series. The first is called Wacom One, and the second, One by Wacom. If you take a look at the models that are in these 2 series, you can see how complex it gets. Some of these are pen tablets and some are pen displays. And these tablets were released in different years. Some of these tablets are excellent and some of these tablets are awful. If you went by the name alone, you could easily accidentally buy the wrong tablet. However, their model numbers are clearly different. So if you use the model numbers, it'll help avoid mistakes. And here's another fun example. XP Pen sells one tablet called the Artist 16 Pro and another tablet called the Artist Pro 16. Do you think that it's likely that someone at some point purchased the wrong tablet? I certainly do. Again, use the model numbers to avoid these kinds of confusions. The marketing materials for drawing tablets always emphasize the number of pressure levels. These days you see advertising for 8,000 and 16,000 levels of pressure. My tip is ignore all that. The number of advertised pressure levels does not matter. I did some research recently and published a video about it. And the conclusion of that research was the vast majority of you only need 2,000 levels of pressure. And you will have an incredibly difficult time to identify any difference with more pressure levels. The link to that video is in the description if you want to get into the details. And the good news is, every tablet on the market right now supports more than 2,000. Almost all support 8,000 or 16,000, and only a handful support 4,000. So you don't have to stress about the numbers or pressure levels when you're making your purchase decision. All the tablets in the market have more than you need. Picking the size of a drawing tablet is pretty important. When I say size here, I'm talking about the active area of the drawing tablet. For a pen display, it's pretty obvious. The active area is the screen. For a pen tablet, the active area is marked by some paint, usually at the corners. To talk about the size of the active area, we usually use the diagonal length in inches. I've looked at the specs for almost 200 tablets and come up with these size categories. So we have small, medium, large, and extra large for both pen tablets and pen displays. For example, a medium-sized pen tablet ranges from 10 inches to 13 inches, and a typical one is around 11 inches. A medium-sized pen display ranges from 15 inches to 19 inches, with a typical size of 16 inches. I've written about finding the right size, and I made a video about it on my channel, but just to get right to the point here, for pen tablets, I strongly recommend you go with a medium-sized tablet. And what I see for pen displays is there's a really wide variation of what will work for people. But I still suggest a medium-sized pen display, so about 16 inches. However, lots of people work fine with a small pen display around 13 inches. I myself these days, I really like working with a 19-inch pen display. These, for me, offer a good amount of drawing space without being too big on my desk. The names of pen displays include the active area size. For example, Wacom Cintiq Pro 16, because it has an active area of 16 inches. But pen tablets do not include the size as a number. Instead, they use a descriptive term like small, medium, or large. For example, the Wacom Intuos Pro Large. Unfortunately, there is no standard for what small, medium, and large mean for pen tablets. So do not rely on the name to tell you the size for a pen tablet. Here are a few examples to illustrate this. The Wacom Intuos Pro is a medium-sized tablet, and the Wacom Intuos Pro Large is a large-sized tablet. But in the middle, you see the XP Pen Deco L and the Huion Inspiroid 2L. L indicates that these are considered large tablets. But as you can see, the XP Pen Deco L is really very close to the size of the Wacom Intuos Pro Medium. And likewise, the Huion Inspiroid 2L is kind of just a larger medium-sized tablet. So if you're buying a pen tablet, make sure you know the actual diagonal length of the active area, and use that size to pick the tablet, not what the name says. So how can you experience what it's like to use a certain size of drawing tablet without having the drawing tablet already? Here's a simple suggestion. Look up the physical dimensions of the drawing tablet and the size of the active area. This information will be on the website for the tablet brand, or you can contact customer support to find it. Then cut out a piece of cardboard to match the dimensions of the tablet, then draw a rectangle, which is the size of the active area. Then put that cardboard on your desk to see how much space it will occupy, and then try drawing in that rectangle. This will give you a good idea of what it's like to use that tablet. When you own a tablet, you're also paying for all sorts of other things. This includes accessories such as screen protectors or gloves or consumable items like nibs. So you've got to take these additional costs into account, especially for the nibs. or you might need to buy a replacement pen. So you should take into account the total cost of ownership. Nibs are the primary consumable. For some people, nibs last years, and for some people, nibs last weeks. It all depends on the surface of their tablet and their individual drawing style. Nibs by themselves are not individually expensive, but if you're going through one nib a week, then it can add up. As for replacement pens, many people are unaware about the cost of the pen that comes with their tablet. And this is often a rude surprise for people when they lose or damage their pen and need to buy a replacement. For example, Wacom professional pens range from $130 to $70. Wacom consumer pens are much less expensive. They only cost around $30. However, keep in mind, you cannot use Wacom consumer pens with their professional tablets. The pens from Huion range from $80 to $50. So they are less expensive than Wacom, but still a little bit expensive. XP Pen, on the other hand, has relatively affordable pens. They range from $50 to $30. If you go to an online retailer like Amazon, you'll see a lot of tablets listed that have the word Pro in their name and are heavily discounted. But really, do not get thrown off by that. For example, on Amazon, I see the Huion Canvas Pro 13 and the Huion Canvas 13 Gen 3. You might be tempted to get the Canvas Pro 13. After all, it's heavily discounted, it's cheaper than the other tablet right now, it has the word Pro in the title, so it must be better, right? But actually, the Canvas 13 Gen 3 is actually the better tablet. It was released just this year in 2024, it uses newer technology and has a better pen, and your drawing experience will be better. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these older tablets, but do be aware that some of these newer tablets really are better. And right now it's a good time to be aware of this because so many older tablets are discounted on sites like Amazon. Statistically, some small percentage of drawing tablets are defective. And even if they're not defective, there might be something wrong with your operating system or computer hardware or applications that interfere with the tablet and make it impossible to use the tablet with your computer. So ultimately, you might be forced into a situation where you need to return the tablet. This is why many people suggest that you choose a retailer that makes returns easy. And a popular choice is Amazon, though I'm sure there are others. So those were some of my very practical tips for buying a drawing tablet. If you have your own tips or questions or feedback, please leave a comment. Thanks for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.